As we look back at what has been an absolutely unbelievable 4 months of selling real estate in Miami, we're now going to look forward to the rest of 2021 and ask 2 key questions. Is this sustainable? And what happens next? Welcome back again to another video. My name is David Siddons and I'll be your host for the next few minutes to talk about the incredible Miami real estate markets. I've been analyzing this market for over 10 years and it's never surprised me more than it does today to be in this position. I'm standing here with an incredible backdrop to another one of our great listings that no doubt we're going to sell at hyper speed. This is Unit 7A in Park Grove. In Coconut Grove. If you'd like more information on this particular unit, see my information below, give me a call. On with the statistics, as we always are key market analysts in this and we're using our advanced software to look up and understand the data. We're reflecting back of January, February, March and April of 2021 and we're looking at the state of the mainland market and the state of the beach market and we're looking at condos and we're looking at houses. I'm going to give you a bit of a backstory to what's been happening. And if you have been living under a rock, you may not be aware, and you should be aware, that the Miami market is absolutely booming. The amount of relocations due to tax, due to weather, due to crime and other problems in other states has meant that inventory is down to an anemic 28% of what it was last year. And relocations are up 500% from last year. And that's going to be very reflective on the statistics that you're going to see. So let's start off with the condo market in the mainland, and we're going to compare last year to this year, which is kind of relevant. So where are we? Well, right now, if we look at our closed sales and we look at our pending sales, we have had 21 sales and 19 pending and active. Now, that probably doesn't mean anything unless you put it into perspective. Let's compare that to last year. So this year we've got 40, last year 7. That is 4 times the amount from what we had last year, and we've got somewhere around 100 properties on the market. Now that's probably the healthiest statistic I'm going to give you through the rest of this entire video. As we move up into the next section in our mainland market, 2 to 5 might be considered a bit more of the luxury area, and then above that 5 to 10, definitely into the high-level luxury. On the beach, it's a little bit different. But coming into the mainland, now the $5 to $10 million market. In 2021, and this year so far, we've had 4 sales over $5 million and we've got 1 pending, which doesn't sound an awful lot relative to some of the other markets. But this time last year, there was 0, there was none, nada. That's, represents an enormous increase of sales considering we didn't have any. It actually feels more. And as we go through this, the one thing you realize as you come into these markets, and I'm standing here in Coconut Grove, is that as we're looking for product at that range, there's very, very, very little. And in fact, this unit that we're standing in represents only one of 2 units that's currently on the market. So now let's look onto the beach, which is the majority of the high-level product when it comes to condo purchase. And in the last 4 months, we've had 40 sales and we've got 27 pending or active with contract compared to last year where we had a mere 11. And as we move up to the top end of the range, which is the $10 million market and over, we had 20 sales and 6 pending. And last year we had 1. Now this is covering the areas of South of 5th and South Beach and Bar Harbor and Surfside and Miami Beach. It doesn't cover Sunny Isles and doesn't cover Fisher Island. Those are different animals. But this is obviously a substantial increase in the number of sales, and obviously understood what we've really felt is that the beach market, the condo market, which had been slow through 2020, accelerated really hard into 2021. Because COVID obviously became less of an issue. People are less concerned about getting into elevators. But quite importantly, the housing market, which really boomed, got a lot more expensive, drew people to think, maybe I'll look at a condo. It's not such a bad deal now. So with that in mind, let's talk about the housing market quickly, and then we're going to move on and talk about what's going to happen next. Because obviously with all these sales, it's fantastic, but we want to know what's going to happen in the second half of the year. So this is where it gets really wild, and we turn our attention to the mainland, which is driven by the families relocating because they're looking for the best schools. And this is Coconut Grove, Coral Gables, Ponce Davis, and Pinecrest. And the situation there is that we're dealing with 18 sales and 20 pending deals and active with contracts since January through to April. And if we look back and we compare that to last year, in 2020, we had 2 sales. So if you do the math and you can add it up, we're talking about 38 transactions that are showing us on the MLS, and that doesn't include all the off-market deals. And trust me, there are a lot of off-market deals that are happening simply because we just don't have enough product. And when we look at what we are left with right now, with these 38 pending and sold properties, we have 37 listings on the MLS, only 37. That is a very mere 4 months of inventory. Let's look at the $10 million plus single family market that we're very heavily involved in, and looking again at the mainland, and this is really where it gets wild. I've never seen anything like this, and it's really unbelievable. And again, dealing with these high level $10 million plus homes, which we find in places like Gables Estates and Journey's End and Old Cutler Bay. You can go online and see the videos that we've shot and talked about these markets. In the last 4 months, from January through to April, we've had 9 transactions. And we have a number of pending deals right now, 12 pending transactions. So that's 21. The same time last year, we had 1. And given the amount of inventory that we've got, which is again down to 4 months, we're really in a position where there's a very small data set of product available. Simply put, why? Because all these people moving in, coming down from the Northeast, they're coming from high tax states, and it's the top 1%. So compared to New York and compared to San Francisco and other cities like that, our prices are actually very, very low. Even though a $10 million plus market might seem very digestible, and the types of properties that you get over $10 million are very, very impressive. I'll flash up on the screen some of the examples of the homes that have sold over the last 4 months. But mark my word, the challenge remains through the rest of the year as we get in and we deal with what new product we'll have available. Waterfront will be a challenge, gated communities will be a challenge, and a lot of the transactions that are starting to trade are all coming off market, which require a good connection to big agents who know each other and will share each other the product before it comes into the MLS, which is why it's important to call people like myself and my team to get a head start on the product before it kind of goes onto Zillow or Trulia. So finally, we're going to talk about the beach area, the single family market on the beach, which is really focused. If you look at the high level beach real estate, you're talking about the Venetian Islands, you're talking about Sunset Islands, you're talking about North Bay Road, and other areas within the kind of the Miami Beach area, probably centered around the golf course, around Lagos. Again, the story is very similar. In fact, it's even more exaggerated than the mainland. And these houses have been bought up again with so many of these buyers coming in. And I've noticed, and this is an observation, the buyers in from San Francisco and California are really gravitating heavily towards these Venetian Island homes. In the 5 to 10 range, we've got, if you add up, sold and pending transactions right now, in the last 4 months, we've got 45 closed and pending and active with contract transactions. And in the $10 million plus range, we've got 57. Now that's higher than we've ever had before. And it means that in both these price points, you're down to just 3 months of inventory. 9 would be a balanced market. 9 would be healthy. 3, clearly we have a problem. And the question now becomes, as we move forward through the rest of the year, are we going to see sustainability? And the sustainability of the market, as we all know, is based off supply and demand, and also are there extenuating factors that could detract people to move out of Miami, or to say, you know what, maybe I won't be moving in. And quite honestly, even if we halved the amount of people coming through, we would still be in a massive problem of having not enough product to sell to that market. But the reality is that there are no economic, socioeconomic, demographic, or political changes that we see and that we're observing to drive people to make a different decision to what they're currently making. And if anything, the observations that we're seeing are that politics within other states is actually further exasperating the desire to move out of California, out of New York, out of Chicago, and move into Miami. And that is not even to touch on one other point, which is the effect of Europeans who still haven't managed to come into Miami to take advantage and buy real estate. And there is a very, very, very real group of those buyers desperately looking to come in and buy some of the real estate in Miami. South Americans, another group that we really haven't tapped into. Right now, we're merely running off the demand coming from the other states, from the Northeast and obviously from California. But let's talk about something a little bit different and move in where we're going to next and what you might not be aware of. There was an article that came out very recently in Forbes, and it talked about the migration of the tech industry from San Francisco into Miami. And the story really revolved around the fact that tech groups were looking to move in, and they were being actually and have been very courted by Suarez. Our mayor of Miami has actively gone out and said, what can we do to draw you in as a group to move into Miami, to the tech crowd coming from San Francisco? And it's not just a case of moving in. It's not just a case of moving in with your business and running it here. It's a case of growing and developing business. So think of Miami in the same way that we are thinking of San Francisco in the 90s. You're talking an emergence of huge amounts of capital, of liquidity, of a desire for investment, and the creation of new business. And with the tech crowd, they move in herds. And this is what I've observed. Groups of people coming in and talking to us and saying, it's me, and here's my 18 friends, all who want to move as well, all who have businesses, all who might have startups, or they're getting funding, or they've already got businesses that are already thriving and doing well, but they're looking for new opportunity and they're looking to create new opportunity, which makes it very exciting. So with this in mind, we see that Miami is going to have a very good run and a very high level of demand. And that means that if you are looking to buy down here, don't think that things are going to get any easier. It won't get softer. It's not cyclical. It's not a case of waiting till the summer months and things will quieten down. It just simply won't happen. So I'd urge everyone, look at our statistics, look at our reports, and if you want more information about what's going on and get more granular, pick up the phone and give me a call, whether it's the Mainland and it's a house on the Venetian Islands, it's a condo, it's Bar Harbor or South of Fifth. We have territory managers throughout Miami, and these are experts. These are industry veterans who've been doing this for 10 years or more, and we all come together to share information using advanced software to understand what is happening. Thank you as always, and tune in next time for another video. See you soon.